What's good? Welcome back to Services Power Podcast, brought to you by Impact Servant Leadership. Lyle's here with you. And as we proceed to give you what you need here at the Services Power Podcast, we need to hear some things from you guys. What are you thinking? What questions do you have about some of the content that we've already put out? Do you like what we're doing here? You have any ideas about how we can improve this thing, how we can grow? Maybe you have a story that connects to some of the things that we've been talking about. Maybe you've got some show ideas, some things that we can be talking about on the podcast. We want to hear from you. Would you email us at hello@servicespower.org? That's hello@servicespower.org. You can go to the website as well, servicespower.org. You can hit us up. I think our social media platform is beginning to get launched out, and we're going to have that available to you as well. Whatever means we have, wherever you're listening to this podcast at, if you're on iTunes, Stitcher Radio, Google Play, wherever you're able to go, throw us a message on one of those places. Let us know how we're doing and what we can do to improve. If you got any ideas, we want to hear about it. We've been talking a lot about you guys and us being on this journey together to see the service industry multiply, explode, to see others serve and care about the people around them in their neighborhoods, on their jobs, on their community, universities, churches, wherever we're at, wherever we're hanging out at, the people around them bringing value, significance, worth to all those individuals. And this podcast is going to help. We want to hear from you. We're with you on this thing, and we hope to hear from you. We hope you're here with us. We want to hear critiques too. Yeah, we even love constructive criticism here at the Services Power Podcast. Would you please connect with us? Again, the email address is hello@servicespower.org. Speaking of critiques, man, my wife critiques me on so much. She's fantastic. She's an incredible homemaker. I mean, she just makes life so much better for me and my children, my family. There's so much of a peace and a comfort and a joy to be able to come home and know that my wife has it all taken care of. Just recently, she was working part-time at a daycare. And so the kids that are there, they obviously have working parents that are out doing their thing. And these folks are there to help take care of their kids and make life a little bit easier on these individuals. And so a parent came in, and this parent is talking to some of the ladies that are working at this daycare. And the lady makes a statement after she hears some of the workers talking about their status as homemakers. She says, "Wow, your self-esteem must be really low to want to have to stay home like that." I know, that's a ridiculous statement, isn't it? That is just so completely insensitive and completely just out of this world. How insensitive must you be to make a statement like that? How demeaning must these individuals, must these women have felt when they heard this person say that? I was beside myself. When my wife told me this, I was irate. I was so upset because, listen, being a homemaker, ladies and gentlemen, that has got to be the most difficult job on the planet. Especially with my wife being married to yours truly. I mean, her job is definitely the hardest job in the world. Having to deal with so many different things, multitasking on a level that is completely just ridiculous. I just don't understand how a person can look at what a homemaker does and assume that she or he has a low self-esteem. And I'm telling you, there are some male homemakers out there that are absolutely kicking butt too. And they all know. Anyone that's around a homemaker that sees what a homemaker is able to do for people and community and to allow people to grow, investing themselves, those are some of the greatest and most ultimate servant leaders on the planet. And I have to shudder to think about this person, this woman that walked into the daycare, the same daycare that is taking care of her kids, her future, her legacy, and to be able to have the veracity to make a statement like that. how could she possibly see these women, these homemakers, as beneath her, as a demeaning position, that their self-esteem has to be low to do something like that? I think that a lot of people see servant leaders that way. I think a lot of people in our society right now see people who serve first, who serve at some of the lowest areas, as people who are low self-esteemed, as beneath, as underneath, as belittled, as less than. It reminds me of a show that my family and I love called Everybody Loves Raymond. And there was an episode where the twin boys had a friend to come over to the house, and they went to a baseball game. They had a lot of fun. And as they come home, Ray is talking about the father of the kid, the boy that is friends with his twin boys. And as the father comes home or to Ray's house, the entire family is trying to figure out how to talk about this guy's job without being disrespectful. Because see, his job is the janitor at the school. And of course, it's Everybody Loves Raymond. So they muck it up. It's ridiculous. Ray's parents are just out of this world. Even Deborah just steps on her tongue and just makes some outlandish, ridiculous statements. But see, the reason why is because the most of our society sees that job, that kind of work, as beneath them, as lowly, as something that's insignificant, when reality is that there are things that those people take care of that no one has to worry about. No one has to concern themselves about. Some of those things that those people do in those janitorial positions are so thankless, but they make environments, they make an atmosphere come alive. So many of those things are so beneficial, but we've missed the mark somehow. And we don't see those types of positions, those types of jobs, as really highly valued and needed in the scope and realm that they actually really should be. Here at the Services Power Podcast, we absolutely love this quote from the author of Sandcastle Kings. His name is Rich Wilkerson Jr. And he says this: "If service is beneath you, then leadership is beyond you." Oh, let me say this again. This is fantastic. If service is beneath you, then leadership is beyond you. What an incredible statement. We love that mentality here at the Services Power Podcast. Now, we could talk about this particular one statement. We could talk about this till the cows call home. We could talk about this for hours, but I know that there's no one here that's listening to this podcast and wants to hear my voice just ramble on and on one thought on one subject for hours on end. So what we're going to do is we're going to break this incredible statement up, this incredible quote. We're going to break it up into 2 podcast episodes. So this episode, we're going to talk about if service is beneath you. And in the next episode, episode 7 of the Services Power Podcast, you're going to want to pay attention. You're going to want to be locked in. You're going to want to subscribe to the podcast because when we talk about leadership is beyond you, I'm telling you, it is going to be absolutely stellar. But right now we want to focus in. We want to harness and hone in on this idea of a beneath mentality. I think back to this lady who talked to my wife's coworkers. What kind of person, what kind of identifying attitudes and traits would this person have to showcase this type of beneath mentality, the type of mentality that looks at people, looks at tasks, looks at attitudes or mindsets, not attitudes, but really mindsets when it comes to doing things or choosing to work or serve in a certain place and area, and say, that is beneath me. That is not something that I could do because I'm somehow, some way better than that. I search through my mind and I figure, man, what's the standard? What's the pecking order? What's the thing that says that X task or Y circumstance is underneath who I might be, who I am, who I can be, who I will be at any stage and game in life? I wonder if there are stresses of life that corner people into believing that leaders don't serve. Because if you're going to follow anybody, you're going to want to make sure, you want to know that that person that we're following cares about us and can speak to us at our level. And so what we're going to want to see as those who follow is that we're going to want to see that person come out of their lofty position and see us and know us, be able to contend with what we do and the value of what that is. And maybe even bend their knee to get into the foxhole, to get into the low place, to get on their knees, to get a little bit dirty, to say, hey, I care about you. I see value in you. I know that what you do matters. And I'm going to show it to you by showing you that I can do what you do because I know what you do helps me become better. Leaders that don't serve any purpose. Leaders that don't serve, that have a beneath mentality that says that your service, what you're doing over there, I'm better than, can't take the people that they follow past their charisma or past their position. They won't make the people that work for them better. They'll leave everyone on the team stagnant. Here's the truth. Service is never beneath any of us. To have this mentality, to have this beneath mentality is to misunderstand that there is actual power in service. That doing things for other people can actually change their life and then enhance them and allow them to become better than they already are just by showing them that they matter and that we care. It's so significant to be able to see that if I don't see what you do and who you are as under me, I can bring you up to where I am, or you can bring me up to where you are. And we're able to walk together in life, in love, in community, with liberty, with freedom, and just be the best version of ourselves. This mentality also completely misrepresents what it is to have authority and influence. Having authority and influence isn't demeaning people, isn't making them feel small or less than. Having authority and influence is all about using what we have to make our teams and our people better, improving life, enhancing experience, immersing ourselves in situations and seeing whatever it is that we have, our skills, our talents, our experiences, and seeing how we can grow the situation that it can multiply everybody involved. So what do we do? How do we change this beneath mentality? How do we recognize it? And once we recognize it, how do we then take it and make it something that is going to work better, that is going to improve us, that we're going to be able to halt our progress when it comes to thinking that people are beneath us and things are beneath us, and in embracing them, embracing these circumstances, embracing these tasks so that we can become a more cohesive unit, a better society, and better people. Well, one of the first things we can do is intentionally serve in the positions of those we supervise. The people that work with us, that work for us. And even if you are on a level that the people that work somewhere else, that you think that that job is beneath you or me, take some time and go do that job. Go do those things. Several months ago, my family and I moved from Washington, D.C. to the middle of New Jersey, where this podcast is currently being recorded. And in order to do so, I had to move out of my last job and then migrate up to my new one. And there's a little bit of a process before we all can move. There's some things that we have to do. And so this out processing has to end with a final meeting. And the challenge with this particular final meeting is that there was this massive snowstorm that hit the eastern seaboard of the United States. So everything's locked up. Our leadership understands what's going on. They give us some time to travel to work. They give us about 2 more extra hours to travel to work so that we can be safe and that we're not rushing and we're not trying to kill ourselves out there as we drive in from here, there, and everywhere. Tons of snow everywhere. Cleanup crews doing the best they possibly can. And then, of course, the crews where I was working, they were working overtime, double time, to do everything that's possible for us to be able to come in. And so the area with which we enter in, the gate that we have to enter into, was just backed up, as you can possibly imagine. So as we're all waiting for things to kind of open up and to get clear, and then we're all kind of going through here, to my ultimate shock, even though I know the character of this individual, I had the opportunity, a wonderful opportunity, to meet with this individual monthly. The commander of the base, the installation boss, the head honcho, the leader of the entire facility, was out at the gate in his big old poncho, bundled up, gloves on, boots on, in the snow, doing the job of the thankless individual that takes our IDs and checks us in to ensure that the right people are coming through. His name is Colonel John Tichert. John Tichert is an incredible servant leader. I'm talking one of the absolute best I've ever seen. I'm still learning from this guy's life and example today. And this feat, this act of service, to get out of his seat, from out of his comfortable place, because as the leader, everybody's looking to try to serve him and make his life better, to give him space, to be able to make his path easier and more comfortable. He decided to stop that, get out of his comfort zone, and get into our discomfort, to the place that nobody really respects except that cadre of individuals that actually do the job. We take that position for granted. John Tichert went to the place that everyone takes for granted and made it special because he understood who those people were and how impactful those positions were, because everyone else would have viewed what he did as beneath his position and beneath his influence, beneath his ability. He intentionally got up on the coldest, dangerous day and went down to the lowest place of the people that serve with him. Ladies and gentlemen, if we were to do that once in a while, man, humility would meet us and smack us right in the face, and we would know that much more. Hey, what you do is valuable and significant. The next thing we can do is strategically think about the ways we can benefit only others. I know there's a lot of us listening to this podcast, and we have our 5-year plans and we have our 10-year plans. We're thinking about how we're going to take ourselves from where we currently are to where we need to be. What is our success track? What is our trajectory? And those things are fantastic. We ought to continue to do that. And if you don't do that, hey, hit us up at hello@servicespower.org. We can help you with that. We can help you get from where you are to where you want to go, because we want to serve you. But what if we did just that and create plans strategically to help other people get to where they need to go, independent of us? It doesn't help us. It doesn't increase us. It doesn't tangibly, effectively, within our own jobs and our own career paths, make us better, but sacrificially, strategically think about this person. And the things that we're going to have to do is, one, we're going to have to get out of our own heads. We're going to have to get out of our own way, and we're going to have to look at them. We're going to have to get to know them, get into their space, get into their life, understand what their goals are, see their strengths, understand their weaknesses, and begin to develop a plan that is going to help them be better. Next thing we can do is celebrate the specific and significant value others have around us. Some of us work in industries where it's all about, what have you done for me lately? What have you done for me lately? And so we have to look at what we do, who we are, and how we get along. We somehow have to promote that to the higher ups, to the people that do the hiring, to the people that do the promotions, to the people grading our papers, whatever it is that we have going on, the people that are going to fund our programs. What have you done for me lately? But if we can look at another program, or we can look at another person, we can look at another section or entity and say, hey, you guys are really doing fantastic. Hey, I want to learn something from what you guys are doing. You know what? This thing that you guys are doing can really enhance what we're doing here. The thing that's going to happen is that they're going to come into your program and look at what you're doing, and then they're going to discover the value that you have, the significance that you have. Now, this isn't about trying to build my own significance, my own value, somebody else to pat me on my back, but it's just a natural thing. It's a natural occurrence. Once we take the time to notice what other people do and put real value towards it and celebrate it and say, hey, you guys are outstanding, the things that we do outstanding will come back towards us. To get rid of this idea that, hey, what you do or who you are is beneath me, let's take those things that they do and celebrate them. And finally, we can discover ways to enhance the value of the team that we currently have. Now, we have two kinds of teams. We have good teams and we have not so good teams. Some of us are serving on really good teams. And so the difficulty here is, how do I improve something that's already good? How do I make better what's already phenomenal? Here's the thing, ladies and gentlemen, we're all human. We're all fallible. We all make mistakes. Depending on who's on the team, there are people that have been doing the job for so long. There are things that they have forgotten. There's things that they haven't done. Some of the principles, some of the policies that we have that have built us and created us to be able to be who we currently are, they may have gone to the wayside. They may have been forgotten about and left in the back burner because a new process or a new technology has come out. Whatever the case may be, there may be something out there that we have not thought about. Just because we're doing so well, we haven't thought about. Think outside the box to help that good team become better. Now, if we're on the not so good team, we kind of allowed to mediocrity to become the status quo. Maybe we just have gotten tired of trying and it just doesn't seem like it's going to go anywhere. This whole word discovery is all about uncovering. It's about digging down deep and finding something that no one else could find. And that's who we are as servant leaders. We find the things that no one else is looking for. No one else is doing. No one else wants to do. Maybe it's the dirty job, but in the rough is where we find the diamond. Let's discover some ways to enhance the value that our teams currently have. I wonder if this woman that walked into my wife's job that's taking care of her kids would have walked in with an idea and a mentality that what these women are doing are extremely significant, not just for my kid, but for their kids, for their families, for their community, for their world. And they thought, wow, the way you serve your household is the same way I serve at my job. It's two different entities, it's two different people, two different skill sets, but they all matter. They all mean something. And we can all grow from it. And we can all be better. And we want to be better here at the Services Power Podcast. Hit us up, hello@servicespower.org. We want to hear from you. We're glad you are on this train with us. We hope to see you at the very next stop. We're honored to serve.